right before that, I got put together with Chad Wicks, who eventually became my WWE tag partner. And I guess they decided, hey, we'll bring these guys up together, something along those lines. And which is kind of, I was happy that I was getting brought up at the same time, you know. But when we were originally going back to your question again, when we were originally supposed to be brought up, we were supposed to be Nova's henchmen, like his little lackeys, when he was doing his whole Simon Dean thing. So, and then when we got there, they said, "Hey, we're gonna have you guys run out from the crowd and just be in your black slacks and black tank tops. Just run out from the crowd and just take out, the guys that are in there." So, we'd go in there and we just take the guys out, and then, they're like, "Who are these guys?" Da, da, da. And we did that for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden, one of the shows, I was in there laying someone out, and I, ripped my tank top off and threw it, and I got to the back, and Vince was like, "Oh, I really like the way you ripped off that tank top and had your black slacks on. You look like a Chippendale." And it's like, "I really want to see you guys come back next week as Chippendales." Yeah, I was like, he's like, I want to see what you looks like. So I was like, okay. And so, next week, during the week, we went to the seamstress and we got our tearaway pants and the whole thing. And we showed him. He's like, "I love it. I love it. Yeah. Okay. I got an idea." And so next thing I know, Stephanie's asking me, "Hey, I think he wants to do this Chippendale thing with you guys. Can you think of like a tag team name that would be kind of wrestling but sexy and cool and blah blah blah?" So I'm like trying to think of names and stuff and talking to Nova and bouncing things off of him and not off Chad, because Chad was Chad and that's a whole other thing. But yeah, we ended up thinking, like, I ended up going to Stephanie. I'm like, "Hey, Stephanie, how about the weapons of mass seduction?" You know, and she's like, "I love that name. I love it." And it was right where the ring was when everyone's, warming up and training during the day. And then as I tell her that, he goes, "Huh, how?" And then you hear, "Why don't we call him the Swinging Richards?" And I'm like, "What the?" And I look over, and I know who it was. And I look over, and it's Michael Hayes. And then, I'm like, and he's like, "I'm gonna go tell Vince that." And of course, like, "Oh yeah, that's funny." Yeah, okay, kiss asses. Anyway, so he goes back and I guess talks to the writers and Vince and all that stuff. And next thing you know, it's like I'm talking maybe 5-10 minutes tops before I have to go out and debut as whoever I'm gonna be. Stephanie comes up to me. She goes, "Hey, look, so it's not going to be the weapons of mass seduction. It's not going to be the Swinging Richards, though. That was too close to Stevie Richards, and then they wanted to call you something else or something, I forget, and then so it's oh no, they're thinking about calling you Swinging Dicks, but that's too on the money, so we're just going to call you the Dicks. You guys are the Dicks." I'm like, "All right." I'm like, "Okay." And I'm just, and inside I'm saying, "Okay, these are the people that are signing your check,
Yep.
and you got to just make the best of it and get through it. And, maybe you'll live another day and you could be another
Right.
gimmick sometime, if you're lucky enough,
Yep.
you know, uh, which is funny because I was actually just talking with my girlfriend about that today, like about how, like, it would have been great to be someone else, and get another shot at it, to show my potential. But and I was like, because, like, guys like, Dr. Isaac Yankem, I was like saying,
Right.
like, guys like that, and Kane, he became Kane, and although he's Kane, I mean, this, I get it, but I'm just saying people make it through. Spirit Squad, Dolph Ziggler, we're,
Right.
guys like
Right.
that. But
But when
but
she's
anyway,
telling you the dicks, you got to realize there's 100,000 other indie guys that would love to. I'll be the dick. I'll be the dick.
exactly, and
Yeah.
exactly, and I was just like it was, again. I was just happy to be there, and so I was like, I remember who signs my checks, and I remember that this is just, I'm living out my dream.
Showbiz.
Yeah, I'm
Showbiz,
living out
baby.
my dream, and I'm just being appreciative that I'm getting the shot at all. And so I kept all that in mind, and I just, at the same time, though, it was more so a concern, not so much not so much, the name or anything like that, I was like, I can get through it. But I was concerned that it was going to have a limited shelf life,
Sure.
and that it was just a quick haha joke, flash in the pan type of thing. And and also but I was gonna make the best of it. But I mean, like, and my worries were kind of true. And it was tough because I was trying my best to make it, a funny thing, because I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna do this, I would like to be like a cross between, like, like Ravishing Rick Rude and Val Venus, if I could do it right, if I wanted to
Right.
do it my way. Um, but unfortunately, it was on, SmackDown, which is, regular network television. And it was during a time that, WWE was trying to be a little bit more fan friendly. I mean,
Right.
family friendly, kid
Right.
friendly. So I was like, we were doing these vignettes, and they, were laughing their ass off. And I like, oh, Vincent Hunter are laughing their ass off in there, because they actually let me write my vignettes, and which is crazy because they don't really let people do that.
Right.
But they knew that I wrote some good ones in OVW, and they just gave me a baseline of what they'd like me to say, and they let me run, and I killed with a couple of them. And then 10 minutes after, they'd be like, hey, you got to shoot it again. It's not going through the trucks. The trucks that, decide what's going to go through for TV and or get,
Right.
fined. So they had me have to reshoot stuff and water stuff down and all this other stuff. So I was kind of concerned of mine. So I said, Stephanie, I'm just kind of worried about this whole gimmick, because this is, I mean, honestly, this is something more for Raw after the 9 o'clock hour on cable television versus SmackDown. I said, I want to do the best I can with this, but I'm just a little concerned. She's like, don't worry, it'll work out. We'll make sure everything's fine. And so, but it didn't.
If people
So
want to reach out
who
to you, promoters want to book you,
yeah,
what's
yeah.
the
If
best way?
anything like that, they could feel free, hit me up on Facebook. That's the easiest way. Just easy to find me there, Tank Toland or John Toland, and just you can feel free to message me there. That's how I usually get most of my bookings. I just, I need to pop on there and check my messages more often. But yeah. So, but other than that, yeah, I'm open for bookings, interviews, whatever. Just always still love working. So until I can't work any longer. So I love it.
Awesome.